Cheers and welcome to Bitter Reality Brewing. Yes, this is the Papaya Mango, Mango Papaya Sour, Kettle Sour in an Anvil Foundry. That's right, in an Anvil Foundry. Overnight, actually almost 2 nights. Yes, and well, I effed up massively, and I mean massively. And Drew says,
sometimes it's a positive perspective you need.
Yeah, and I told him, and he thought I did something really bad. And then when I told him what I did, which I thought was really bad, he thought it was good.
I thought, yeah, great.
So we're gonna have lots of fun with this. That's a pango. I keep saying pango.
Papaya
mango. Maybe pango is a new papaya mango hybrid.
Crossbreed, yeah.
Yeah, crossbreed. But it's papaya and mango with real papaya and mango pulp. And it's a sour. It is a kettle sour. And then I back sweetened with a 1/2 ounce of Amoretti extra mango. So basically it's a mango papaya. Then we did this one over here with pineapple. So it's a mango papaya pineapple. And then we got one over here, which is a mango papaya passion fruit. I almost forgot what it was. So we'll set that there. Yeah, it was back when they were first getting going. They didn't have enough of these bottles, so they sent it to me in that. That's all. It was just what was available, and they were hooking me up back then on that. I bought the mango recently. Pretty sure I bought the pineapple, but they sent me the passion fruit one a while back. I've just not used it.
Right, not yet.
Which is weird, since I love passion fruit. I keep wanting to say papaya and
Papaya, pango, mango.
Pango, mango. Yeah, we're gonna start a new pango drink. Okay, you ready to see how badly I screwed this up? This was my second kettle sour, and I was shooting for about 5% ABV, and I had a 1.046, and I'm thinking, okay, well, my expected final gravity is gonna be 1.008, which puts me right at 5%. So I was excited. This is where the problem comes in. Because I had not done but one kettle sour, my brain wasn't thinking, what does bacteria eat? Like yogurt bacteria.
Like sugar and stuff.
Yes, it eats sugar. It eats a lot of sugar. And that helps create the lactic acid, which gives you the acidity, which gives you the sour taste. And so I moved everything to the fermenter. Once I got it down to like, I want to say it was only around 5.28, maybe 4, I don't even remember. I'll put the numbers up there. But it didn't get that sour, and I was kind of disappointed, but I'm like, you know what? Screw it. It's been 2 days almost. I'm just gonna toss it in the kettle, or in the fermenter, toss the yeast and ferment it. Well, my tilt said 1.016, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Maybe I forgot to calibrate the tilt. I thought I did it. I couldn't remember. I had so many things going on. Well, you ready? What did I make?
Non-alcoholic sours.
Yes.
Technically.
It's 1.016, finished at 1.008, which puts it at 1% by volume.
Which legally is non-alcoholic, because those are 1.2 on a fermented beverage.
Yes, so I made a non-alcoholic kettle sour by accident. Can't believe I did.
A lot different from what you normally do.
Yes, so. He was like, what'd you do?
Make it an
double,
imperial sour?
Double, yeah, he's like, was it like double, like 13%? I go, no, I think it's gonna be 1.3. He goes, 13%. I go, no, 1.3. He goes, oh, well, you almost made it non-alcoholic. Well, yeah, it is. It's technically, it's 1%, which I think overripe banana has about 1% in it. So I was shocked. Most fruit has alcohol in it, which was shocking. Even bread, very bizarre. A lot of times I do all these pours and you never get to see me pour it. And I've had a few people say, hey, can we see you pour this? So I'm gonna let you see it pour it. And as you notice, I got the little tap systems up here, so we can pour everything right in front of you. So this is going to be the mango papaya. You wanna do the honors?
Sure.
And I will start pouring over here. That's my glass, that's your glass. I'm gonna get the papaya over here. Okay, I might need some more CO2 on these.
This one might need a little less CO2.
So that one's gonna go over there.
Gonna let that settle.
Do it again. The next one, it'll probably be fine. I did. I was hitting these at 30 PSI to get them carbonated fast. And I think I'm paying the price now.
I think you should have met them all in between.
Yeah.
Still.
That's okay. Set it down. It'll be fine.
And then I'll grab this one here.
This one's perfect now. No CO2?
No.
Yeah, we're gonna need more CO2 over there. Give us a moment. So to avoid confusion, we're just gonna leave the glasses where they are, and I'll put stuff underneath so everybody knows what the hell we're drinking. And we're gonna do this one that's over foamed first, because
that's the base.
Yeah, it's the base. It is mango, papaya, at 1%.
As you'd probably expect from that, it looks like water.
It looks like water. It is stupid dry. I can't get the bubbles to come off of this glass. Haven't used these glasses in a while, so who knows? Maybe those are dust particles from inside the cabinet. His is nice and clean. Anytime I see something on a glass, even if it's on the outside, I give him the clean one. I take the dirty one. It's just the way I am. It's kind of a dad thing. Oh, and by the way, this is 3 pounds Pilsner, 3 pounds wheat, 1 pound flaked wheat, 6 ounces Carapils, and 4 ounces of acid malt with 9.6 ounces of corn sugar, which I can't remember. Oh, corn sugar wasn't added. That was to account for the fruit. That was for me to adjust my ABV so I knew where I was. So yeah, and then it had 14 ounces times 3 of papaya and 14 ounces times 3 of mango, all thrown in the fermenter. So yeah, and I'll put the yeast up. And it had 4 ounces of Azaka hops at the last 5 minutes. And yeah, stupid clear, minus the little bubbles of mine.
It smells like a farmhouse.
I was gonna say it's a hint between a farmhouse and a saison. I'm gonna say a little more to saison because farmhouse usually is kind of dank.
Tastes more like saison. It smells like farmhouse.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. It tastes like water. It's kind of like a seltzer water.
Very light. Yeah.
That's got the ever so effervescent light hint of. I taste a hint more of papaya than mango.
This is a LaCroix sour.
Yeah, a LaCroix sour.
Got the essence of
and it's
papaya mango.
it's LaCroix light.
Yeah.
Because the flavor is very light. But you could bang these out all day long and your
Probably
boss
get hydrated.
Yeah, your boss is like, "Are you drinking beer?" It's non-alcoholic. He'll go, "Oh, okay." You'd have to slam quite a few of these to get a buzz.
Yeah, quite a few.
So we're gonna go straight from mango papaya, not back sweetened, and I only put a ½ ounce of each of these by weight. ½ ounce by weight, okay? We're gonna go to mango papaya. That means that we added a ½ ounce of mango per gallon, because that's a gallon, okay?
Again, super clear.
And I love these oxy bars. It's not as clear. Remember we saw it was a little more yellow.
As you go, it gets a little bit hazier,
It gets hazy, it does. As we get over to passion fruit, we get a lot more haze.
but it's still really clear.
Oh, I smell the mango though.
Yes, that's when I get it. The back sweetening definitely.
Very,
helps bring
very
it out.
nice, very nice. More flavor, a little more bite.
This is better. Yeah.
It is, it's nice, and it's still 1%. Actually, technically, maybe it's 0.99999 since I added something. Just kidding. But yeah, and it's okay to back sweeten like this if you're using an ale yeast, because usually as long as you keep it around the low 30s, it usually will not re-ferment. If you use a lager yeast, I've found that back sweetening, within a few weeks, it starts to re-ferment and you'll ferment out any of those back sweetening sugars.
So far, it's like you got a really good base, and you can just kind of do whatever you want with it after that.
Yeah. There's very subtle hints of mango and papaya. I gotta tell you, I do like that. That was nice. It was very nice. Okay, we're moving on, and we're moving on to pineapple. As you'll notice, I usually use the red for air, and then yellow I screwed up over here, so just ignore me. Okay, we are still very light.
But again, it's getting hazier as you go.
It is. Pineapple's very subtle. It might be because we've had mango.
I can smell it.
I can smell it very
very
light when I put
subtle.
my nose way in there.
You can definitely taste it though.
Oh yeah.
That's good.
And it's very light. I probably could have got away with like 3/4 of an ounce in weight. It's a little lighter than the mango is for flavor. The flavor doesn't stand out as much, and maybe we should have cleared the palate, but at 1% I wasn't too worried.
It's helping with the sourness of it too.
Well, it's got sugar.
Yeah.
This is real fruit with sugar.
I think it's more because I'm expecting a pineapple to be sour-ish. It's the high acidity kind of feel.
I taste more of the pineapple midway and late than I do right up front. I
is
get more of that acidic bite up front from the sour.
Pineapple's my favorite out of these three, so.
I'm hoping passion is mine because I'm a big passion fruit fan. Way back in the 80s when nobody freaking knew what it was or cared. It had a very papery aftertaste, which was a natural thing that's in passion fruit, and I like it. I just got used to it and I didn't mind.
I like passion fruit juice.
Well, if it's real passion and very little water, you will get a papery aftertaste. And like you said, haze. Lots of haze. A little harder to notice it, but I smell it just ever so light. You gotta put your nose way in there. Maybe swirl it around. I smell it.
Yeah.
It's very subtle, but it's nice.
It's very, very.
And I will say on this one, it's closer to 0.375 by weight instead of 6.75 instead of a half ounce, because I actually poured a little too much. So just a hair over a half ounce.
I taste it.
It's mild, it's nice.
Mild.
I think I'm losing my mind. It's almost like I get a little bit more body, but ever so. I think it sits on my tongue longer, that's what it is.
It does, yeah.
It's sitting on my tongue a little longer, which that's the one thing I love about wheat. Now, if this was up around 4 or 5% and maybe I didn't ferment down to 1.008, maybe 1.010 or 1.012, it would have had a ton of flavor. And wheat helps to carry it without having to put as much fruit, but I put a lot of fruit in it, fermented the hell out of it. So.
Pineapple's my favorite.
So basically I can pour him a gallon. Actually, I already have a gallon poured. And then just dump in some of whichever one he picks.
Yeah.
And instantly can go, I mean, he could do papaya, mango, blood orange. I have that. I think I have raspberry. I have a few. I mean, you could back sweeten it with any flavor you want it. You could even, of course, start over and brew it correctly like I screwed up. It just is what it is. And really, I couldn't have fixed that easily because I would have had to add corn sugar, which would have just added more. It would have been drier. I'm gonna say this was a successful,
I think it's cool.
non-alcoholic,
Yeah.
completely unintended non-alcoholic screw up. And welcome to Kettle Sours. Had I done a Philly sour or something like that, I wouldn't have had this problem because it doesn't do the same thing. It would have accounted for, I would have had the ABV, I still would have ended up with a dry beer, but I would have been around 5%. Instead, because the bacteria doesn't convert it to alcohol and lactic acid, it just does pure lactic acid. I end up not having enough sugars for fermentation, and yeah.
Well, hey, got a cool base and a good way to mix it up.
Yeah, and I can officially say I've made a non-alcoholic beer.
Sure.
According to the laws. To me, it's still got some, but
It still has
I
some,
mean,
yeah.
if you want to get drunk off 1%, go eat a bunch of overripe bananas, good luck. So, cheers. Thank you.